Right, hello. Today I'd like to talk to you about a book called Vorrh, a novel so weird, so utterly beyond the realms of narrative sanity that I finished it and briefly forgot how chairs work. Vorrh, by B. Catling, a poet, sculptor, and I suspect sorcerer, contains so many baffling ideas per chapter that I started keeping a notebook. Halfway through, the notebook burst into flames and began weeping in Aramaic. The Vorrh is set in a fictional colonial city called Essenwald, which, as far as I can tell, was shipped wholesale from Germany into the middle of an ancient, sentient jungle. Because that's the kind of thing you do when you're an empire, you just relocate a city like it's IKEA furniture. So, the jungle, the Vorrh. It's not just a forest, oh no, that would be far too reasonable. It's a psychic, time-warping, memory-erasing, semi-divine organism that appears to be quietly judging everyone and everything inside. Imagine if your local park developed opinions about your moral choices and could rearrange your timeline out of spite. And yet, people keep going into it, into the jungle. Of course they do, because what is fiction if not a series of increasingly unwise decisions made in the name of plot? And if that weren't enough, because apparently a forest that gaslights your soul just isn't sufficient, we've also got fallen angels. Yes, actual biblical rebels, just hanging out in the jungle like winged existential crises. But these aren't sexy angels, no one's posing for Renaissance paintings here. These are sad, baroque and celestial beings who've clearly been put through the mill and come out the other side wearing metaphorical damp trench coats and muttering about regret. And at one point, spoilers, tries to merge with the forest, possibly to escape the crushing weight of plot symbolism, which frankly, I understand. Now, you might reasonably ask, who is the main character? To which I answer, yes. There's a man named Peter who may or may not be possessed by a mystical bow, a woman with no eyes who may or may not be a psychic, a cyclops raised by robots because why not, and an assassin who's also possibly a tragic ghost. It's like the Avengers if the Avengers were curated by a very tired Jungian dream analyst. Every character has a backstory, and every backstory is weirder than the last. Half the time I wasn't sure if I was reading their memories or their past lives or just a metaphor for imperial anxiety disguised as a fever dream. The prose, it's lyrical, lush, unapologetically dense. At times I had to read a sentence 3 times just to determine if it was describing a person, a philosophical concept, or a haunted clock. And yes, it's brilliant, it's beautiful, but it is, make no mistake, a challenge. You don't read the Vorrh so much as survive it. It's like eating an entire wedding cake made of metaphor and guilt. In the end, I don't know if the Vorrh is meant to be understood in the traditional sense. It's not a puzzle you solve, it's an atmosphere, a feeling, a kind of prolonged spiritual nosebleed. It's about colonialism and loss and memory and myth and death, and crucially it's about fallen angels in the woods trying to find meaning in a world that has cheerfully misplaced its narrative compass. So, would I recommend it? Absolutely. If you're the sort of person who enjoys books that feel like a lucid dream wrapped in moss and guilt, this is for you. If, however, you prefer your novels with, say, a clear plot and basic cause and effect logic, maybe go and read Paddington and work your way up. The Vorrh is unlike anything I've ever read. It's strange, stunning, occasionally infuriating, and absolutely worth it. Now, most writers have an idea, but they're pulled back by the voice of reason. Let's not go crazy, it might say. If Catling ever had such a voice, this book was him throttling it in the crib. George R. Martin inspired me to write, Abercrombie to find the satire in the story beats. Catling, though, he is a visionary. He inspires one in a way no one else could. He asks, how weird can you go? And then sets the bar. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this review, do the usual things, like, subscribe, whatever. Cheers.